Hi dolls and gents, I'm back, and like I say, your girl is always back. Hope you guys had a great weekend and that you had a good Monday and start to your week. I wanted to come to you guys with a quick video. I get this question a lot, and I have a lot of people who ask me, how do they find glutathione and vitamin C IVs like near them, and where should they go? And so, like, as far as the IVs, like over the past, I want to say like 2 to 3 years, they've become very popular, not just for glutathione and vitamin C, but they also have become popular for athletes who are trying to recover. They become popular for anti-aging, popular for immune boost, and different things like that. So now it's like easier for you to find a clinic in your area that offers the glutathione and vitamin C IV. The way that I first found my first clinic for vitamin C and glutathione IVs was just to a Google search. So I just went to Google and I typed in glutathione and vitamin C IV, and some things popped up with clinics that were near me. You can also, none are near you that pop up when you type that into the Google search. Then just type in glutathione and vitamin C IV near me, or just glutathione IV, and it'll pop up, because it popped up for me. And I went for like the very first clinic that I saw that was in driving distance, but I didn't go for a clinic based off of, the price. So I would recommend that you guys, once you find a few clinics in your area, that you would call around, ask them how much the pricing is, as well as how much they're going to give you in the IV. When I first got to my first clinic, it was in New Jersey, and it was like 1,500 milligrams glutathione and 500 milligrams vitamin C. And I know that seems kind of low for vitamin C, but it still worked. And like, again, it was like my first time, so I was still learning. Right now, I would suggest you look for a clinic that has at least 2,000 milligrams of glutathione, no less than 1,500. 1,500 would still work, and at least around 1,000 or more vitamin C. Now, the reason why it's important for you guys to shop around is because if the clinic doesn't have the milligram you want for vitamin C or glutathione, they'll charge you to add on extra glutathione or vitamin C. So if you research and you call around the different clinics you found on Google, then you can see who's offering the most glutathione and vitamin C at the best price. Okay, so either you might decide to pay more to get more glutathione and vitamin C, or you'll find a clinic that has a good amount for an affordable price. A lot of places charge different prices, and it costs more up north and probably in the West Coast. I'm not sure about like towards Florida, but I know up north charges the most for glutathione and vitamin C IVs. So say, for example, if you live in New York, you may want to travel to New Jersey to get your IV, or to Philadelphia, because it may be cheaper. When I first started out, there was a woman, I never got a chance to meet her, I just heard about her from the nurses that traveled from New York City to New Jersey to get her IVs. And one nurse told me it took her like a little bit over a year to achieve her goal. And so I guess she was like dark skin, and then she became high yellow, but it took her a little bit over a year. And so it's different for everyone, because it's gonna work, but it's just your body and how much you need to detox, and how fast your body will repair itself, detox itself, until it affects your skin tone and you begin to start lightening. So it is a lengthy process, but to me, if it takes you a year or like a year and a half, I think it's worth it. It's not going to take you forever. And at least if you get really close to your goal, you'll feel confident and you won't be as stressed about going further with your goal. I've never done just the IV without having, a regimen. And there are people that have. I found one girl on Google, I read her form, and she did not do any creams or anything like that, and it did take her about 2 years, but that was her journey. It doesn't mean that's going to take you 2 years. But I noticed that she also lost weight, and she started eating a lot healthier. I can't talk today. And so that's why it took her that amount of time. I would say like around IV number 16, you'll start to see a difference, okay? And maybe 24, even bigger difference. But you'll have to keep going until you reach your goal. My suggestion, looking back, I would suggest that someone maybe go the first 3 months of their journey, and then they can transition to supplements to save money and still take supplements, you know, while you're doing your first 3 months or so, and then transition to just a high dosage of supplements, maybe 2,000 glutathione, 2 to 4,000 vitamin C every day until you reach your goal. You know, if you cannot afford it, it will still work doing it that way. But if you want to keep going, then I would give it at least 8 months of glutathione and vitamin C IV. I also used, before I went in for my IV, I would use lidocaine. The one I'm going to get ready to show you, I found this one on Amazon. And so I will put that on my vein, and then I would take some plastic wrap and I would wrap that for about 30 minutes. So depending on how far the clinic was, the clinic where I was going to was 15 minutes away. So I would wrap it 15 minutes before I was getting ready to leave. And so by the time I got to the clinic, I would take it off right before I went inside, and then I would get my IV. I wouldn't feel anything. And I never fully looked at them inserting the IV, because I feel like your eyes may, you know, trick you a little bit and you might think it hurts more than it is. But if you don't look too hard and kind of just like glance a little bit, I feel like you won't feel it as much as you think you will. And so that would be my suggestion as far as using lidocaine. I would just take it right off, go right inside. The nurses never said anything like, oh, I smell lidocaine or whatever. They wouldn't. And they did have number where I went, but it didn't work in my opinion, or they didn't allow it to sit long enough. So when I got my IV, I never felt anything when I went in, because your veins are going to get sore. So you're going to need to rotate them. And so this is my little tip for when you get ready to start your journey. I would say a safe number for an affordable IV, maybe around 130. Okay, so if you can find one around that price, that would be good. Once or twice a week, you should go, but you should take vitamin C and glutathione supplements daily. Okay, that is very important. The injections used to be offered on the Naturalistics website. They'll be back in about a month. For those people or nurses who feel comfortable doing their own injections or IVs, I prefer the IV over the injection, because unless you use something to help with the stinging of the vitamin C or glutathione, you're gonna have that sting every time you give yourself an injection, okay, or even the IV. Now, when they usually give you the IV, they give you it with saline, and so you don't feel anything when you're doing the IV. The injection, with the naturalistic injection, it comes with sterile water, and so you should follow the directions on using the sterile water. It doesn't dilute it, okay? You're still gonna get the same milligram, but you will not feel that intense like stinging from the vitamin C and the glutathione. It won't hurt, okay? And so that's my recommendation for that. If you are afraid of doing your own stuff, again, and if you're not a professional, I definitely wouldn't recommend any giving yourself an IV at all. An injection, I would say okay. But if you're afraid, I would then, you know, look for a clinic near you that you can go to and you can afford. If you can't afford it, then I would suggest maybe try an injection if you're not afraid, okay? And so that's how I found my glutathione and vitamin C clinics. That's the only method that I used. I didn't use word of mouth to find anything. It does work, so just use Google, all right? If you have any questions, leave them below. I will try to address different questions throughout the videos. I'll put the link below for where I get my vitamins, and I still take the same vitamins. I'll leave it in the description below. I know for people who've been watching me for a while, you already know what they are, the supplements that I take, but there's always people who are new who ask me like the same questions. So I'm gonna leave that below in the description, and I'll also try to pin it, okay? So if you still have any questions about how to find your clinic, you can leave them below. But again, just put in glutathione IV or glutathione and vitamin C IV or glutathione and vitamin C ID near me, and you'll find that there are a lot of clinics near you nowadays. Okay, if you're new to the journey, welcome, and I wish you a happy and healthy and safe skincare journey, and stay safe in these times. Talk to you guys soon. Love you, Dolls Gents. Bye.